George immediately
around.
You look at, oh, and there's a couple.
But again, Jerry in a corner. And that time
the left, come up and slice the one. And Jerry Cooney's in big trouble. He's ready. Is the big roundhouse left, the trademark.
January 15th, 1990. Nobody took this fight seriously. A 41-year-old preacher and a 33-year-old fighter who hadn't thrown a punch in 2 years. Both written off, both paid $1 million just to show up. 9 years earlier, Cooney had been boxing's most hyped contender, a puncher good enough to take heavyweight champion Larry Holmes the distance, before finally being stopped in the 13th round. But after a 5th-round stoppage loss to Michael Spinks in 1987, he'd all but vanished. More nights in nightclubs than in the gym by his own account. Foreman, meanwhile, was 3 years and 19 fights into a comeback nobody had taken seriously either. 18 of those wins had come by knockout. Only one opponent had lasted the distance with him.
I am the heavyweight champion of the world, just like Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey, Joe Louis, all these great human beings in the past. My name will be alongside them now.
And I want to put everything together, mentally and physically, to be the best I can.
And I said, I'm going to hit him right on top with his covering and my fist. I'm just going to knock him out.
I'm fighting George Foreman January 15th. It's going to go less than 10 rounds and I'm going to win.
Vegas billed it the Preacher and the Puncher. Ringside, most people were calling it something else. Two geezers at Caesars. Both men were guaranteed $1 million, win or lose.
In the beginning, and here we go. George immediately going to the crossed arms, the stance that he's favored throughout his now 20-fight comeback. And there's the big left hook by Jerry Cooney.
Not landing that time. Obviously, that cross-arm defense is a trademark of George's trainer, 76-year-old Archie Moore, one of the all-time cliche, but really one of the all-time boxing greats.
And of course, that crossed arm, George used it effectively, fighting the much shorter opponents that he's faced up to now.
Jerry trying to dig for the first time, the left hook to the body. That really is his best punch. Jerry moving to his right, also not something that's very natural to him, but it's movement that's designed by his trainer Gil Clancy to confuse George Foreman, to keep him off balance, and therefore nullify his power.
And you touched the key word there, Alex, balance, something that Gil Clancy has said that he really wanted to work on with Jerry Cooney. Oh, there's a left from George Foreman.
Foreman jab, he has a very heavy and strong snapping jab. When he wants to throw it and lands it, gets it home. Tremendous punch. Jerry Cooney at times also jabbed well, most notably with Larry Holmes.
Good left to the body by Cooney, and then he came upstairs and...
Mouthpiece is out. We're going to replace the mouthpiece. George Foreman doesn't know what it is yet. Gil Clancy puts Jerry's mouthpiece in. Lost it about 20 seconds ago.
And George said, I'm not going to waste the energy walking all the way over to that corner.
That replacing the mouthpiece, a new rule. Ordinarily, the fighter would have to fight without the mouthpiece for the remainder of the round.
Well, there's that jab of Foreman again getting in.
George, we have to say right here, and not just in contrast to Jerry Cooney, George is a little bit quicker than he has been in his 19 fights of his comeback. That wild amateur is Foreman right to the body. He threw that punch when he was a world champion.
When you look at, oh, and there's a couple left and a right to the body by George Foreman. That jab lands, but really doesn't do anything, didn't have anything on it. And that's really a trademark of Foreman's punches, Alex.
You could almost see Jerry Cooney thinking there a moment ago, damn, he was along the ropes. Wait a minute, I am not supposed to be on the ropes. Let me get out of here, and he did. Before Foreman was able to take advantage of it. But again, Jerry in a corner. And that time, Jerry got a little left hook in, and he wobbled Big George. First damage to either fighter done by Cooney with an inside left hook to Foreman's head.
Final 10 seconds of the first round. There was a big right to the ribs by George.
Round one didn't go the way anyone expected. Cooney landed a left hook that visibly wobbled Foreman. Commentator Dan Deerdorf said live on air that it didn't look like a loaded punch, but it still rocked the champion. Foreman would later admit it was worse than that. He hit me harder than anyone I've ever been in the ring with.
George says it's so boring boring to sit down.
Well, George has appeared to be bored through these past 19 prior fights.
Not in this one.
There's a good left counter by Cooney.
He came in here with a much more serious look than he's had in any of his previous 19 fights of his comeback. And he better be serious because he's got millions and millions of dollars at stake here.
Well, they both do.
But George didn't need this fight to fight Tyson. He was going to get that Tyson fight, amazingly enough. He was going to get it anyway. He's risking everything.
Oh, and there's a good right lead by George Foreman. It doesn't do a whole lot, but it definitely scores.
Ooh.
Oh, and another right by Foreman. And Jerry Cooney has his left hanging a little low. There he gets it back up.
George putting pressure on Cooney, backing him around the ring just by walking in. Jerry so far has not chosen to stand his ground and trade punches. He's been fighting in spurts. There, standing his ground, punching, and then trying to move out of the way.
And there is the big roundhouse left, the trademark punch of George Foreman. Ooh, and that blow by Cooney went undetected by Joe Cortez.
Good inside uppercut by Foreman.
Oh, and look at the left, come up and slice the one. And Jerry Cooney's in big trouble. He's ready to go. And there he goes.
2, 3, 4.
And he is badly hurt. Same position he was in round 5 against Spinks. A clubbing right hand by Foreman. Now let's see if he's learned anything about how to survive, because he's got 1 minute and 8 seconds left. Oh,
and
that's it.
And I don't think this fight's over. This fight's over. George Foreman blows away Jerry Cooney in the second round.
And he came over here to ringside and winked.
And Jerry Cooney is not close to getting up. 1 minute and 57 seconds of the second round. George Foreman.
Round 2 was a different fight entirely. Foreman worked Cooney's body, then landed a heavy uppercut that froze him in place. A follow-up flurry put Cooney down. He climbed back to his feet and walked straight into a left hook that put him out before he even hit the canvas. Referee Joe Cortez didn't bother counting. Cooney stayed down for over a minute. Cooney announced his retirement right there in the ring and never fought again. Foreman kept going. 4 years later, at 45 years old, he'd knock out Michael Moorer to become the oldest heavyweight champion in history. Nobody at Caesars that night believed they were watching the start of it.